beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain, America, God shed his grace on thee. And crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. God shed his grace on thee. And crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. And crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. To shining sea.
You are listening to This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs, so sit back, relax, take your black pill, and enjoy the show.
Hey, good evening, residents of Clown World. It's This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs and Ben. And it's a very special Veterans Day, of course. Ben and I are both veterans. Ben, how was your Veterans Day, sir?
I worked. I never understood why bankers get Veterans Day off. When have you ever met a banker veteran?
When have you ever met a banker who saw a war he didn't like?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're responsible for most of them. Maybe that's why we give them the day off.
Precisely. There could be no Veterans Day without veterans, and there could be no veterans without bankers.
I forgot to bring this up in the pre-show, but I have an alternate overlay, the special edition. Let me find it here. I'll bring it up here. Go ahead and kick it off.
Yes, well, it's been a week that has been somewhat boring and overshadowed by the one big story that's kind of taken everybody's imagination by storm. We are, of course, speaking of the trial of Kyle, the
right.
Kenosha Kid.
It's everywhere.
It is. It's everywhere. As somebody commenting on the case said, he said that that Kyle Rittenhouse is not the one who's on trial here. It's the very concept of armed self-defense. And in a way, he's absolutely right. If you take a look at the media coverage both right after the event and during this trial. And then you just see how differently people are viewing it. Because I have one old Army acquaintance that I was in with who posted something on Facebook a couple of days ago. He's like, he said something like, I didn't know all of the facts going into this, and I still don't have 100% grasp on what's going on, but I never in a million years thought that the defense would have it so easy. And my initial thought was to reply with, well, the only surprising thing about this trial, if you completely ignored corporate media, was that it took this long to get to this point. In a sane and just world, he would have been released the next day. A clear-cut case of self-defense. There's video and photographic evidence from multiple angles that exonerate him, and that's what's coming up in the trial. And yet, I am seeing Twitter threads of left-wing activists and personality types that are being completely red-pilled on the entire situation, being like, wow, I had no idea of the details of this case. I hadn't seen this video evidence before. I was just listening to what, rather than going out and seeing the video evidence for themselves and making their own decisions, so many people were being told by corporate media what was in the video. And that's where the big problem comes into, not just in this case, but in a lot of things that are coming out in the media. Rather than seeing the evidence for themselves, they're being told what is in the video evidence. It's kind of harkens back to like when Chris Cuomo on CNN was like, don't go look up WikiLeaks. Just let us tell you what's in WikiLeaks. You know, it's like you really let the mask slip there, bud.
Well, and there's still a subset of the far left progressives that think it's going to slam dunk for the prosecution, which I don't.
They're obviously not watching the trial. They're listening to Joy Reid and the rest of the two brain cells rubbing together over at MSNBC, who know damn good and well that they're lying to their ignorant, not ignorant in an insulting way, but ignorant in the literal sense of the term. Their audience is ignorant to what is going on in these trial proceedings. And these MSNBC retards are out there lying to them, saying like, "Oh yeah, he's out there. He's obviously a racist, and he was out there looking for trouble." And it's like every shred of evidence that's come out has proven that the narrative to this point is a lie.
Well, and did you see the thing that they were floating around? What a mistrial! The judge was reading cookie catalogs during the. Did you see that one?
I saw the picture of the judge reading the cookie catalog. I figured that was during a recess or something.
I mean, a sane person would think that, and that was the case. But I mean, it was floating all over, and every time I saw that posted, it didn't get fact checked. But I had a friend that got a warning for the licorice hot dogs. Did you see that float? Somebody posted special for Halloween licorice flavored hot dogs from Oscar Mayer, and they got a fact check and a warning for spreading fake news or whatever. And here's this real fake news floating around, but Facebook doesn't seem to care.
Way to be on the ball with the important facts there, Facebook. Or should I say Meta? Meta.
Saving us all from getting our hopes up for licorice hot dogs, but we'll let that float around that it's going to be a mistrial because a judge is shopping for cookies.
Good Lord.
The other thing I saw about that judge when his phone went off in the court. Did you see that? It played like God Bless America.
I know that everybody's favorite race baiter, Tariq Nasheed, took a still image of the judge like talking to somebody, and how sometimes you punctuate your words by making a hand symbol or something.
Yeah, it wasn't an okay symbol.
It was the okay. He was talking to somebody, and he was like this, It was a still image
doing the military point.
Yeah. And he's like, I think that the judge is on team white supremacy, which is why he's been so soft on Rittenhouse and so hard on the prosecution. It's like, good Lord. Hey, happy Veterans Day to the one person watching us on Facebook.
Hey, somebody from Facebook showed up. I don't understand how that. I mean, hey, we'll point it out. We got our special veterans banner up here.
Yep.
Air Force, why can't you just be like everyone else? Then we got honorable mention down here, Space Force and Coast Guard.
Yeah. one that's not a real branch yet, and one that's not a real branch anymore.
But here, I've got the special alternate version overlay here. Let's see if here we go. So the special alternate version, we have the big green weenie up there. Everybody in the Army knows that.
Yep.
Got the blue chair force. Got soap on the rope for the Navy.
I was wondering what that was. Box of crayons for the Marine Corps.
And then we have a little sailboat for the Coast Guard.
Yep. Good old Coast Guard.
Honorable, and the Space Force doesn't need an alternate logo because they're already a joke. So they're a meme to begin with. But way to throw that in there. But yeah, Edward, thanks. I don't know. I don't know if somebody's. I don't think there's any behind the scenes play going on in this. I think it's going to be a fairly honest trial.
Yeah, oh yeah, it has to be. It's got the media's attention, and it's not for lack of trying. The prosecutor is out there trying to throw as many curveballs as he can, but the guy's mentally retarded, it seems like.
What about that mistrial thing that came up? Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that. I heard that sound bite the other day, and he was trying to sneak in some pieces of evidence that the judge, some non-circumstantial evidence that the judge said wasn't going to be allowed in trial, and his lines of questioning has kind of tiptoed up to the line to being where this inadmissible evidence would then need to be presented to provide context. He keeps tiptoeing up to this line, and finally the defense was like, he said something like, if he does it again, I move for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an experienced attorney and he knows better.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps doing it, and the judge is like chewing his ass out for, I don't know if he thinks that he's being stupid or if he's doing it on purpose, or if he just sees this as such an important case that by golly he's got to win and he'll do any dirty trick in the book he can. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, and it was something that Kyle had said about some comment online or in a YouTube video of one of his friends where there was some looting going on, and Kyle said something like, I wish I had my AR. And then the other thing was where the lawyer tried to make Kyle look guilty because he didn't talk after the incident.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows that is what you're supposed to do. Don't, what is it? You ever seen the Pot Brothers at Law and their Shut the Fuck Up Friday?
Yeah. Yeah. This Luis over here saying Call of Duty is real to the prosecutor. They're bringing up Call of Duty. They're bringing up his, edgy teenage TikTok handle. 4 doors, more whores. Sedans only. And I'm like, that is a treasure right there.
Yeah, I could see Mr. Rittenhouse, on this date, you said you pwned some noobs. Could you expand on that? And I can understand. The judge didn't make a decision on it at that time either. So I don't know if that means at some point in the future you're gonna be like, yeah, fuck it, it's a mistrial, or how that works. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he hasn't made a decision yet. He has said, like, before the recess, he's been kicking the jury out of the judge has been kicking the jury out of the room in order to chew this guy a new asshole several times, and it's he kicked the jury out, and he said that you are commenting on the defendant's Fifth Amendment right to avoid self-incrimination. He's like, you're bordering on unconstitutional activity. You may have crossed that line. And then later on in the day, he said you were engaging in an unconstitutional activity, disparaging Mr. Rittenhouse exercising his Fifth Amendment rights.
Mhm.
So I think that was going to be his final warning. And if he ends up continually tiptoeing to these lines that he's not supposed to cross, I think that the judge will call for a mistrial with prejudice, which at this point I think it's called for. Mistrial with prejudice, I believe it means that he will never be allowed to be charged with anything pertaining to this case ever again. No appeal process, nothing like that. And I told some guys at work, I said, the judge needs to declare mistrial with prejudice. The prosecutor needs to be fired from his position as prosecutor. He needs to be recalled in his position as district attorney. Kyle Rittenhouse needs to moonwalk out of that courtroom with both middle fingers in
Finger
the air.
guns.
Yeah. And straight into the arms of the legal team that Nick Sandmann sued the media with, and get involved in a defamation and libel lawsuit to make Nick Sandmann's settlement look like small claims court.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened to Sandmann is nothing to compared to what has happened to Rittenhouse in the media.
Yeah, it seems to me that if you're a lawyer and you get a mistrial with prejudice, that's like the ultimate fuck up, and you probably need some sort of demotion at that point.
Well, he needs to be disbarred. He needs to never practice law again.
I mean, that's especially a case this big, and if you fucked up that bad.
Yeah, because it's not only his content or his conduct in the courtroom right now as prosecutor. It's also his alleged conduct brought up by now 4 witnesses on the stand as district attorney, telling them to lie or change information in their sworn police statements. The man is as crooked as it comes.
Well, and then his line of questioning on one of the expert witnesses, he's like, so the defense paid you to be here. It's like, that's how fucking expert witnesses work. You hire them. They're not doing it just because they like you. I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And he was presenting it like they had some nefarious plot that they're buying testimony off people. No, there's people, their careers. I mean, that's like their side jobs. If they're an expert in some sort of field, they're expert witnesses in court, and they make good money doing it.
Right. Yeah. It's the prosecutor. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish by asking these just knuckleheaded questions. Does he think that he's going to like get somebody to perjure themselves by, answering in a sarcastic way and be like, oh yeah, you're lying. And, it doesn't make any sense. The guy he's either trying a tactic and failing, or he's genuinely stupid.
Yeah, and that's of concern for that whole county. I mean, how many other cases has he fucked up this badly and people have got off that that were legitimately guilty in a case, and he fucked it up and they got off. So I think the judge said he wants to wrap it up by tomorrow, didn't he?
Oh, that would be great. Because this circus is, at this point, there's no question anymore. And the only people that think that he's a murderer, especially a murderer in the first degree, have obviously not been watching the court proceedings.
And that probably works best too for all the looters and rioters, in case there's some that actually do work, that that they do it on a weekend. They wrap it up on a Friday so they can start looting on Saturday.
It's a good weekend activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's early November. Wisconsin's getting a lot colder, so yeah, we want to wrap
Probably
this up.
probably jacket weather. Shouldn't
Yeah.
be too cold to loot and riot.
Yeah, you want to get this out while it's still fresh and you're still having the temperatures cooperate with your criminal activities.
Get some dumpsters on fire to keep warm on. Push them towards gas stations.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you do it.
So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yep.
I don't know if do progressives really give a shit. I don't see all the rioters and looters going out over the people he killed. I don't know.
No, see, I saw one of those Twitter threads that I was telling you about, people getting red pilled on the instances involving the case, and one of them was like, it's been over 14 months since the Kenosha incident, and I'm only finding out today that all 3 of the people that Kyle Rittenhouse shot were white. What? This person, and there's got to be more people like her out there, was under the impression that because it was a BLM protest, that all of the people that were shot were black. Like, how did you miss that? I know the answer to that. The answer to that is she paid too much attention to fucking MSNBC and CNN.
Mm-hmm. I just visited that area too, and there is not a lot of black people in that area. So I don't think any of that footage. I mean, I saw there was maybe a handful of black people at those BLM protests in Kenosha. So I don't know what they were thinking, that he was just busting up a crowd of black people and gunning them down. I don't know. It must be weird to live in that reality.
Right, you have your reality dictated to you rather than looking and listen to what's actually going on.
So I wonder what's going to happen to that lady when she finds out that one was a convicted pedophile and the other one was a domestic abuser. when she gets to that part.
Yeah, and the other one was a thief.
Oh, the one-armed bandit.
Gage Grosskreutz is the guy that got his arm blown up, was the domestic abuser.
Oh, he was domestic abuser.
Anthony Huber, the one that took one round center mass, the skater boy. He was the thief. Hey, give me a sec. I gotta plug my laptop in. Battery's about to die.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. Apparently, I'm the only person watching this. Emil, there are more people, but we have more people over on YouTube because Facebook screws us over a lot, and it does not push our live streams out. So we kind of just throw it on Facebook at this point for shits and giggles. So thanks for showing up, YouTube crowd. There is a guy over here on the Facebook chat who's feeling all alone. Emil, you might check out our YouTube channel and go watch it there instead next time if you like the show.
Yeah, go over to the YouTube channel to watch it, because we got like 4 or 5 people over in the chat over there.
But yeah, let's move on from the old Rittenhouse thing. I think we beat that up. We'll talk about the ensuing riots or lack of riots next week. What's old Jolton Joe been up to this week?
Apparently he dropped the PC version of the N-word.
Are we allowed to say that word? I'm not, or is it too close to the other one?
Do I care? No, but apparently a guy, a professional baseball player from way back in the day named Satchel Paige, I guess was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame or something. And
not even recently. I don't know why this story is rattling around in Joe's head. I mean, told it to the Pope last week. What did he even bring it up? It wasn't even relevant where he brought it up today, was it?
Dementia does weird things to your neural pathways. But yeah, so Satchel Paige was a player back when baseball was segregated, and he played in the Negro leagues, and I guess was good. I don't know much about baseball or him in particular, but I guess he was good. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame or something. He popped up in the front of Joe Biden's mind, and Joe Biden called him the Great Negro.
Satchel the Magic Negro. Let's see. See if I can find this thing with Biden talking about, and I'll put it up here on.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, it's I said before the 2020 election that he was starting to slip, and I said that it would be funny if he started getting his politically correct terminology mixed up and started saying colored people instead of people of color.
Yeah,
This is worse. This is honestly, he went straight past mixing up POC and colored people and just dove straight back into 1953 Negro territory. I was speaking Spanish. No, you weren't, Joe. No, you weren't.
all right. I think I've got him here, so we can put him up. I'll put up the one that he did with the Pope first, and then I'll put up the other one. Let's hope this works. Sometimes it works for us, and sometimes it doesn't. So here we go.
Was a famous African-American baseball player. His name was Satchel Paige. The commanding officer said, "Satch, no one's ever pitched to win at age 47. How do you feel about pitching to win on your birthday?"
So he tells his stupid ass story to the Pope a couple weeks ago. And here he is talking about the great Negro.
You know, I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time, pitcher in the Negro Leagues, went on to become a great pitcher in the pros, into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige. And Satchel Paige, on his 47th birthday,
Tell him the same
to
damn
win.
story. What was that event? It was like a memorial to someone. Didn't even.
I don't know. You know what? I think I do know, and I don't know if I said it on this show, but I know I've talked about it to some people at work. I think that his handlers are intentionally trying to embarrass him on the world stage because I think that Joe's out by Thanksgiving.
You know, maybe one of his handlers told him, "Joe, you can do this. You're just like Satchel Paige." And they told him the story about Satchel Paige. So now, he's just stuck in a loop of talking about Satchel Paige. And even the signer stopped for a second. I didn't notice that. They're like, "Do I sign this?"
Oh man, yeah, but I do. I think that they're intentionally trying to embarrass him in public because when either his resignation comes or the 25th Amendment gets invoked, it's not going to. They're going to be able to play it up for sympathy rather than as a shock. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, Joe, he's not there anymore. Now he realizes that he is not in a mental capacity to effectively govern, and so now he is going to relinquish power to the first woman of color president of the United States, and he is going to gracefully retire to his estate. He's a modern day George Washington, giving up power willingly. Stunning and brave. That's
Like
probably,
Cincinnatus of the Romans, huh? Just
yeah.
But fuck, Kamala's terrible, though. I mean, I think that's the only reason why they're keeping. I mean, the Democrats have probably realized how much of a shit show she is. So they're like, senile Joe is probably better than idiotic Kamala. I mean, there's no excuse for her.
No, there's not. She's just so fake that I think that she doesn't have her lies straight anymore. And that's why everything that she does is just like, where is this coming from? What are you talking about? And I think that the Democrats, like, there's probably panic behind the scenes. Like, we are so fucked. Yep.
Yeah, and she was in Paris. I forget why they're even in Paris. Some climate change bullshit, probably. But she was explaining to. It was a room full of French scientists. You know, I think they had a Nobel laureate in there, and she starts talking in a weird French accent to him.
Yeah, she's horribly fake. Like, I got really fucking drunk at an Irish festival and started talking in an Irish accent to the band that was playing live music. They were from Ireland, and I started talking in an accent. But at least I was 3 sheets to the wind at the time. What's her excuse?
Maybe she was 3 sheets to the wind all the time. I don't know.
No, I think you're mistaking her with Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. You know, somebody put over here, I don't know which is worse, President Harris or VP Pelosi. I think.
So, do you remember?
No.
Yeah, I mean that's an awful choice to have to make. But do you remember a while ago when I came up with my conspiracy theory about Donald Trump running for the House of Representatives and being the Speaker of the House and all that other shit?
Mhm.
Well, something just popped into my Facebook timeline, a memory from a couple of years ago. And I can't believe that I forgot this, but 2 years ago, I filled out a change.org petition to draft Vermin Supreme as the Speaker of the House. And the reason that I did that is because the Speaker of the House does not have to be a member of the House of Representatives. They can elect anybody that they want.
Yep.
Which means that Donald Trump, if the Republicans were really going to stick a thumb in the Democrats' eyes, Donald Trump doesn't have to run for the House of Representatives. He could just go and like shake hands with a few of the Republican congressmen, and they'd be like, "Hey, you want to fuck with the Democrats? Let's give Nancy Pelosi's job to Donald Trump."
I've never understood why strategically it makes sense because you get one extra vote that way also. It's just nobody's ever done it. And I mean, that would be hilarious if it happened. And I think they've got a good chance of taking back the House after the shit show that was the elections that happened last week.
Oh God, yeah. After the whole bungling mess that this entire year has been, yeah, the Republicans they're gonna make huge gains in the House and the Senate next year.
Yeah, and I don't know that that House bill, the 1.7 trillion one that I still have no idea what the fuck it's about. It would have failed if some of the GOP hadn't voted for it. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
Well, one of our representatives, Don Bacon, decided that he was going to.
Yeah, he did.
And he said something about how Trump passed an even bigger COVID relief bill or something. So it's about bipartisanship and crossing the aisles and not blind party loyalty. And I'm just like, yeah, but is it though? Are you just trying to be friendly or what?
Yeah, I don't know what they think they're going to get out of it. I mean, he's in a purple district, which I'm guessing a lot of those other people that voted for it are also. But when the tire meets the road and you go ahead and shit your pants on a vote like that, what's the point of even having? If you're a GOP, what's the point of having somebody from the GOP in there at that point?
Yeah, as Republicans are supposed to at least pay lip service to opposing gargantuan government spending bills.
Over 100. No, it was only like 13, Duke. We had Steel Duke over here comment 100 Republicans voted in favor. Yeah, it was only like 13.
But
if those 13 had not voted for it, it would have sunk because I think it was 9 Democrats that didn't vote for it because it didn't go far enough.
Yep.
So
that was the thing. Up until this vote, the Democrats if the Democrats had voted along party lines and unanimously voted to pass this, they had the numbers to pass it. The problem was that they didn't want to pass it with strict party line voting because they didn't want it to be seen as a purely partisan, spiteful issue. They wanted to get some Republicans on board to sign it. And there's a few things in there that made it somewhat enticing to each one of these Republicans that did hop the fence. I know that our rep that signed it here liked the free broadband internet for rural areas, and it's like
There was some military shit in there too. Bacon has never voted against anything that gives money to the military. So that's his thing. You know, he's a retired colonel in the Air Force, and anytime something comes up where you can give money to the military, he votes for it. But I mean, two things are going to come out of this. Either the Democrats are going to fuck over their progressives and not pass the second part of the bill, or the Republicans are fucked and the Democrats are all, I mean, they've got a couple holdouts that said they weren't going to vote for it. You know, like the cinemas and the mansions. And there's a couple other ones too. They're going to go ahead and vote for it. And they're just going to pass this massive fucking mini Green Deal bill. And at that point, everything's fucked.
Yeah. Right. So we got to kind of hold out till the midterms. I hope, and I hope that there are enough, because the conservative, the traditional conservatives, the conservatives that don't just like have an R behind their name and then end up, you know, doing progressivism at the speed limit, but the conservative grassroots that say that they want to, you know, put a stop or put the brakes on spending and rein in the size and scope of the government and everything. These sorts of like grassroots populists like that Ed Durr up in New Jersey. You know, I know that's a state level elected position, but guys like him are starting to gain headway in the Republican Party, and it's making the older establishment ones that were always kind of on the fence to begin with take notice and swing back into that more populist conservatism that they say that they're for, but you know, their voting record speaks otherwise. So hopefully we're seeing a bit of a sea change towards actual fiscal responsibility coming up, and rather than just, you know, saying that they want to rein in the government and then throw money around like it's going out of style.
Yeah, I hope there's a bunch more truck driver types that run. I mean, I don't know, maybe now that they realize that people like that'll get elected, I bet they'll start fighting him. I'm sure they didn't take that guy serious when he ran.
No, and he did it the right way. He walked around and he talked to people.
Well, that's the same way AOC did it in hers, but she had a bunch of commies backing her with money. This guy didn't have anything.
Yep. Grassroots versus AstroTurf.
Yep. Well, we hit on Rittenhouse. We got our Joe update. What do we? Well, we started kind of late, so maybe a little bit of a shorter show. You had a nonsense moment for us, though, didn't you?
Yes, this is popular internet and meme culture meets This Week in Nonsense. Everybody's favorite person, Elon Musk, decided that he was going to get into a little bit of a spat with somebody from some stupid UN organization, bureaucracy or whatever, but some dipshit on Twitter decided he was going to throw shade at Elon Musk and tweeted out that Elon Musk, with a fraction of his net worth, $6 billion, could solve world hunger. You know, never minding that the World Food Program takes in about $8.3 billion every year. No,
and to expand on that a little bit too, that program is completely fucked over Africa because it just drops free food. So your poor some bitch African farmer out there actually growing the food and trying to sell it, he can't sell the shit because there's just all this free food falling from the sky.
Yep. And you have generations of farmers that don't know how to farm anymore.
Yeah, because why would he keep farm? I mean, I don't know if that's a bug or by design. I'm sure it seems a lot like what they did to the Native Americans, so I'm sure it's probably by design, but that's my tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, so this guy tweeted out that with $6 billion, Elon Musk could single-handedly solve world hunger. You know, but the implication there was, but he won't because he's an evil rich doo-doo head. Yeah. And so Elon Musk, of course, clapped back with, show me the plan and I'll sell Tesla stock right now. It's like, You want $6 billion. If you could show me the plan and make it have open source accounting so that we know where these dollars are going, I will sell the stock necessary to give you $6 billion right now.
Yeah, I think to expand on Animal, he did say something like, I want it to be public and where the money's going and et cetera. And they would never do that.
No, of course not, because how are they going to grift some off the top if they do that? So anyways, crickets from old boy over at the World Food Program. So then Elon dug up an article from 2015 that said that UN aid workers were making children as young as 9 give them oral sex in exchange for food. And he's like, what happened here? Oh, God, it's a great, great thing to see.
Yeah, and that seems like you've heard that story literally every time there's a UN operation. I mean, I can remember way back when they were in the Balkans, you heard that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you hear it I don't know what it is about these UN people or where they're getting them from that, you know, they're full of kitty diddlers.
Well, a lot of it is these UN peacekeepers and these aid workers and people that are tapped to go into these. Just take a look at any of them. They're basically like locals from neighboring countries. So if something bad is going on in Yugoslavia or something, then the United Nations will tap a military or a paramilitary or a volunteer unit from a neighboring country like, Kosovo or, one of these other Balkan states to be the peacekeepers, the reaction forces, the aid distribution or whatever. And more often than not, there's going to be either some bad blood from age old, tribal and ethnic and religious and God knows what else going on, or you're just going to have absolute savages like you get in Africa. Like if you have something going on in one of these sub-Saharan African countries and you go and get a battalion of army reservists from like fucking Congo or whatever, of course they're going to be child rapists. Rape is a weapon of war over there. What are you thinking?
They're just doing what they know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the worst one that I can remember now I was thinking about when you hear about this was the Haiti mission. I mean, that was like they were like shipping them out of there and everything. I remember reading a story they uncovered that.
Yeah, child trafficking. Who knows where these kids went? Adrenochrome.
Yeah. Little trip to the old Epstein Island.
Yep, there you go.
It really seems like the UN's value is diminished in the last decade, which I think is an amazing thing. I kept hoping that Trump would pull out of the UN. He kept threatening it. It's like, do it.
Yeah. Do it, evict them out of New York, pull us out of the United Nations. The United Nations would crumble. There's 196 countries in the United Nations, but the United States provides 28% of its budget.
Yeah, and the UN that organization seems like it hates the United States too.
It's a bunch of fucking dictators and communists who are resentful of the big dog in the room.
And their the Human Rights Commission, when they lectured the United States on something, it's like, hold up. You got like you had like Mozambique and Iran, and it's like, what? North Korea on the Human Rights Commission? It's like, what in the fuck?
Clown world.
Yeah.
Clown world.
This needs to go away.
Yeah, only in clown world would places like Mozambique, North Korea, China, Zaire, these places be the leading members of an international human rights council.
Mm-hmm.
Honk honk.
Yeah, and they've never done anything useful.
No, and the thing about the United Nations is that it condenses, it encapsulates, it personifies the old saying of the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because they get up there and they say their flowery speeches about making the world a better place, and they invariably come out and make the world a much, much worse place, almost exclusively without fail.
Well, I don't know. That about wraps up for everything for me.
Yep, it's about time for bed.
We went out on at least a milder nonsense this week after all our dark ones. You have anything this Friday?
I do not. So
All right,
sorry,
well,
sorry, folks.
I guess happy looting to everybody after the verdict comes out tomorrow. Get your big screens and don't fuck around and find out with any 17-year-olds.
Oh yes, that would be some type of poetic justice. Kyle Rittenhouse got out. Let's go make more Kyle Rittenhouses.
Yeah, that's the ultimate fuck around and find out competition was Kenosha. So,
Yep.
All right, well, tune in next week. Check out our merch, roadsandnumber2liberty.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook also if you want to check out the shirts we have. Buy some merch. There's something there. Early Christmas shopping. That's right. Oh, wait, for the shirts or for looting?
Why not both?
Why not both? Put on your Roads to Liberty shirt and go looting.
Please don't.
But check it out, roadsandnumber2liberty.com. We got all our shirts on there. Follow our Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff.
It really helps us out in the algorithm if you leave a little comment.
You didn't talk like that, did you? Okay. All right. See everybody.